Well, you see, whenever such violent conflict erupts, we tend just to look at the immediate causes that actually behind such eruption, when in fact there are different elements that are always involved, and that is what I consider to be delusionary factors. And that is, for example, the Palestinian or the Hamas in particular denying Israel right to exist, or Israel unwillingness to allow for the establishment of a Palestinian state, or dividing Jerusalem to be the capital of two states, or the Palestinian insisting on the right to of return. These are delusionary because you cannot reach an agreement between the Israelis and the Palestinians while continue to hold onto positions that cannot possibly be accepted by the other. So this is what we have to keep in mind. So when you look at the current crisis between Israel and Hamas, the root causes of that is not just the fact that 3 boys, Israelis, were kidnapped and brutally killed, and the vengeful act that was by an Israeli who kidnapped a Palestinian boy and beat him and then burned him to death. That is only the trigger, but not the cause. The cause is Hamas, commitment to destruction of Israel, and Israel unwilling to reconcile with Hamas, principle ideology, and that is the problem. It is impossible to reconcile between the two positions. Well, because you have to go back a number of years. An Israeli-Palestinian conflict is more than nearly 70 years old, but the both sides held into certain position that appear to be irreconcilable. For example, some segment of the Palestinians, including Hamas, suggest that Israel has no right to exist. Israel been dragging its feet about the establishment of a two-state solution. Israel insists that Jerusalem will never become a capital of two states. The Palestinians are insisting on the right of return of Palestinian refugees. These are issues without which a solution to these issues, and disabusing both parties that they can reach an agreement while holding on these positions, it's impossible. And that is why we have been experiencing deadlock in these negotiations in 2000 and 2008, and more recently, under the auspices of the United States. So what we are going to need is to change public mindset about this. The leaders ought to accept the fact that these delusional positions need to be changed, and unless this is changed, there's very little prospect of achieving any kind of durable peace agreement between the two sides.